The crystal towers of Valoria gleamed under three suns, casting rainbow shadows across the imperial palace. Inside the grand throne room, Emperor Daehan sat with his head in his hands, a posture no one had ever seen from the ruler of 200 worlds. Before him stood his daughter, Princess Hana, her translucent skin still bearing the faint scars from the last assassination attempt. 3 times, father, she said softly. 3 times in 6 months. Your guards cannot protect me. The emperor looked at his youngest daughter. She was small, even for their species, her crystalline features delicate like morning frost. The guards were compromised. Their minds were clouded by telepathic manipulation. We never saw the assassins coming. Then what will you do? Keep me locked in these rooms forever? Hana moved to the window, gazing at the city below. I am already the forgotten princess. 3rd in line. Not important enough to matter, but important enough to kill. Daehan stood and walked to her side. I have made a decision. You will not like it. I rarely like your decisions anymore, father. I am hiring a human to protect you. Hana turned sharply, her eyes wide. A human? The barbarian species? The ones who still fight with chemical explosives and barely understand quantum mechanics. The ones who are immune to telepathic manipulation, the Emperor corrected. Their minds are closed to our abilities. An assassin cannot cloud the judgment of someone they cannot touch mentally. This is an insult, Hana said, her voice cold. You might as well announce to the galaxy that I am worthless. Protected by a creature that only learned to travel between stars 50 years ago. I would rather you be insulted and alive than honored and dead, Daehan replied. The decision is made. Across the galaxy, on a mining colony orbiting a dead star, Taewon wiped sweat from his face and looked at the message on his datapad. The words seemed impossible. An offer to leave this place. An offer to work for the Valoran Empire itself. The pay was more than he would make in 10 years of breaking rocks. He read it again, searching for the trap. There was always a trap. You gonna take it? Asked his supervisor, a Krull with 4 arms and a bad attitude. They want you specifically. Says here, you served in Earth's colonial military. Special operations. That was a long time ago, Taewon said quietly. Not that long. You're what, 32? 33? Still young for a human. The Krull leaned closer. Says here the job is personal protection. Bodyguard work. For a princess, no less. Taewon closed the datapad. I'll think about it. You'll take it, the Krull laughed. Nobody stays in this pit when they have a way out. Just try not to embarrass your whole species out there. The galaxy already thinks humans are stupid. 3 days later, Taewon stood in the Imperial Palace, wearing the black uniform they had given him. It felt strange after years of mining clothes. The fabric was some Valoran material that adjusted to temperature and repaired itself. More advanced than anything Earth-made. Lady Ji Woo, the princess's attendant, looked at him like he was something unpleasant she had stepped in. She was tall for a Valoran, her crystalline features sharp and elegant. The princess will see you now. You will not speak unless spoken to. You will not touch her. You will maintain a distance of no less than 3 meters at all times. Understood, Taewon said. You will address her as Your Highness or Princess. You will not look directly at her for extended periods. You will, I understand protocol, Taewon interrupted gently. I've worked protection details before. Ji Woo's expression suggested she doubted he had protected anything more important than a cargo shipment. She led him through corridors of impossible beauty, where lights seemed to dance without source, and the walls hummed with barely audible music. Princess Hana sat in a room filled with plants from across the galaxy. She was examining a flower with blue petals that moved like water. She did not look up when they entered. Your Highness, Ji Woo said, bowing. The human has arrived. I see, Hana said, still not looking at them. Put it somewhere out of sight. Taewon said nothing. He'd been called worse things. Princess, he's to be your personal guard. He must remain close to you at all times. Then have it stand in the corner. I do not wish to look at it. Ji-woo glanced at Taewon apologetically, but he simply moved to the corner she had indicated. He stood at attention, hands clasped behind his back, eyes scanning the room. 2 entrances. 1 window. The plants could provide cover, but also concealment for threats. The ventilation system was large enough for infiltration. Hana continued examining her plants for an hour. Then 2 hours. Taewon did not move. When she finally rose and walked to her sleeping chamber, he followed at the prescribed distance. Ji-woo showed him where he would stay, a small room adjacent to the princess's quarters. She will test you, Ji-woo warned. She is angry about this arrangement. Do not take it personally. I won't, Taewon said. The next weeks were exactly as Ji-woo had predicted. Hana ignored him completely, speaking about him to others as if he were a piece of furniture. She went to dangerous parts of the city, attended functions where tensions ran high, and generally did everything possible to make his job difficult. Taewon simply did his job. He was always there, always watching, always 3 steps ahead of wherever she was going. The other guards mocked him. The human pet, they called him. The princess's barbarian. He ignored them too. One night, after a particularly long day, Hana stood outside her quarters. Taewon was in his usual position nearby, reviewing the next day's schedule on his datapad. He was speaking quietly to himself, a habit from his military days. 3 public appearances. Morning garden visit, check the paths first. Too many blind corners. Afternoon council meeting, scan all attendees, verify identities. Evening cultural performance, multiple exits required, crowd control essential. Hana paused, listening. His voice was calm, methodical, professional. Security on the east wing is weakest. Request additional cameras. The chef has new staff-run background checks. The ventilation system in the council room hasn't been inspected in 4 months. Unacceptable. She turned to look at him. Really look at him for the first time. He was not tall by human standards, she had learned, but built like someone who had fought for everything he had. His face was weathered, his eyes constantly moving, cataloging threats. You actually care about this, she said. Taewon looked up, surprised she had spoken to him directly. Your Highness? This job. You actually care. It's my job to care, Your Highness. Most guards see it as standing around looking impressive. You see it as warfare. Every moment you're alive is a battle won, Taewon said simply. I intend to win every battle. Hana studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly and went inside. Ji-woo, who had been watching from nearby, approached Taewon. That is the most she has said to anyone in weeks. Taewon simply returned to his review, but something had shifted. The princess had finally seen him. Not as an insult or a piece of furniture, but as what he was, a soldier who refused to lose. The morning sun painted the imperial gardens in shades of gold and silver. Princess Hana walked among the exotic plants, touching leaves that sang soft melodies and flowers that changed colors with her mood. Taewon followed at his usual distance, his eyes never stopping their constant scan of the surroundings. 2 months had passed since his arrival. 2 months of silence slowly giving way to occasional words. Hana had begun to acknowledge his presence, sometimes even explaining the plant she studied. Taewon listened but never stopped watching the shadows. This one is from the outer rim, Hana said, gesturing to a vine covered in silver thorns. It only blooms once every 10 years. I have been waiting 3 years to see it flower. It's beautiful, Your Highness, Taewon said, though his attention was on the gardener working 30 meters away. New employee. Started last week. Taewon had already run 3 background checks. You are not even looking at it. I can see it's beautiful and still do my job. Your Highness. Hana almost smiled. Almost. Do you ever stop watching for danger? No, Your Highness. Not even when you sleep? I don't sleep much. This time, she did smile. Just a little. Ji-woo says you have alarms on every entrance to your room. Motion sensors in the hallways. Pressure plates under the carpets. Jia-woo talks too much, Taewon said, but there was no anger in his voice. She likes you. She told me yesterday that you saved her from slipping on the wet stairs last week. I caught her arm. Anyone would have done it, but you were the one who did it. Hannah moved to another plant, this one with blue petals that seemed to glow from within. Would you like some water? Ji-woo is bringing refreshments. I'm fine, Your Highness. Thank you. When Ji-woo arrived with a tray of drinks, Hana reached for a glass of pale green liquid. It was her favorite, a blend of fruits from her home province. Taewon's hand shot out and caught her wrist before she could touch it. "Oh," he said sharply. Hana froze. Ji-woo gasped. No one touched the princess. Ever. Taewon released her immediately and took the glass himself, holding it up to the light. Look at the surface. See the discoloration? The way it catches the light wrong? Hannah looked closer. There was something, a faint shimmer that seemed off. I see nothing unusual. Humans see a different light spectrum, Taewon said. He called over one of the palace guards. Get this to the medical lab. Now, full analysis. The guard hesitated, looking at Hana for confirmation. She nodded slowly. 20 minutes later, Commander Sung-ho arrived in the gardens with 4 armed guards. His expression was grim. The drink was poisoned, a toxin that is completely invisible to Valoran senses. It works on the cellular level, stopping the heart within minutes. There is no antidote. Hana stared at the empty glass, now sealed in an evidence container. How did he see it? Human eyes detect wavelengths we cannot, Sung-ho said, looking at Taewon with new respect. The poison reflects light at a frequency only visible to their species. It was designed specifically to be undetectable to us. Who brought the tray? Taewon asked. Ji-woo stepped forward, her voice shaking. I did. I prepared the drinks myself in the kitchen. I never left them alone. I watched the kitchen staff the entire time. The poison was already in the glass, Sung-ho said. Someone placed it there before the liquid was added. It dissolved instantly. I want every person who was in that kitchen questioned, Taewon said. I want to know who had access to the glasses. I want security footage from the last 24 hours. Sung-ho bristled at being given orders by a human, but Hana interrupted. Do as he says. All of it. For the first time, she looked at Taewon not with resentment or mild tolerance, but with something else. Something like gratitude. That evening, as the sun set over Valoria, Hana asked Taewon to walk with her on the balcony outside her quarters. He maintained his distance, but she kept trying to close it, moving closer as they walked. Why did you leave Earth? She asked suddenly. Taewon was quiet for a long moment. I lost people I was supposed to protect. My entire unit. We walked into an ambush on a colony world. I was the only one who survived. That was not your fault. I was their leader. It was my job to see the trap. Hana stopped walking and turned to face him. You cannot save everyone. I can try. Is that why you took this job? To make up for them? Maybe, Taewon admitted. Or maybe I just needed to be somewhere I could make a difference. You made a difference today. You saved my life. Just doing my job, Your Highness. Stop calling it that, she said softly. Stop pretending this is just a job. You work 20-hour days. You never rest. You check every person, every room, every meal. This is not just a job for you. Tae-won looked at her, really looked at her. She was right. Somewhere in the last 2 months, it had stopped being just an assignment. She had stopped being just a client. You are right, he said finally. It is not just a job anymore. The next weeks brought change. Hana spoke to Tae-won often now, asking about Earth, about human culture, about his life before Valoria. He taught her how to read human body language, how to spot lies, how to assess threats the way he did. She taught him about Valoran politics, about the subtle ways her people communicated through thought and gesture. She showed him her research on xenobotany, explaining how different plants could be used for medicine, for food, for beauty. They became something neither of them expected. Friends.Young-J, a noble son from a neighboring world, began visiting the palace. He was handsome by Valoran standards and clearly interested in Hana. She was polite but distant. Tae-won noticed that Young-J's eyes wandered too much, that his smile never quite reached his eyes, that his guards were too well armed for a simple social visit. I don't trust him, Tae-won told Ji-woo one afternoon. You don't trust anyone, Ji-woo replied. But she was smiling. I trust you. I trust the princess. That is more than you trusted 2 months ago. During one of Young-J's visits, there was an accident in the East Wing. A support beam collapsed, nearly crushing Ji-woo as she passed beneath it. Tae-won had been 30 meters away, but somehow reached her in time, pulling her clear as tons of crystal and metal crashed down. Ji-woo stared at him, gasping for breath. How did you move so fast? Adrenaline, Tae-won said, checking her for injuries. Human stress response. Makes us faster, stronger for short periods. You could have died, but you didn't. After that, Ji-woo stopped questioning Tae-won's methods. She started actively helping him, pointing out suspicious behavior, alerting him to schedule changes, becoming a second set of eyes. One evening, Hana asked him to stay while she worked in her study. She was writing a paper on cross-species botanical applications. Tae-won stood by the window, watching the city lights. Do you ever miss Earth? She asked without looking up. Sometimes. The sky is different there. Just one sun, one moon. The oceans are blue, not purple like here. It sounds lonely. One of everything. It can be, but it's home. Hana set down her writing instrument. Tae-won, I need to ask you something. My father wants me to attend the Galactic Summit next month. It will be dangerous. Dozens of species, many who hate our empire. I can refuse to go. You should go, Tae-won said immediately. You cannot hide forever. And I will be there. They will mock you. They already call humans primitive. At the summit, it will be worse. You will be the only human there. I have been mocked before. I will survive. I want you to know, Hana said slowly, that I requested you remain as my permanent guardian. Not because my father ordered it, but because I want you here. You have become important to me. Tae-won turned from the window. You have become important to me too, Your Highness. Hana, she said softly. When we are alone, call me Hana. Hana, he repeated. And the name felt right in his mouth. Outside the window, 3 moons rose over Valoria and inside. A princess and her human guardian stood in comfortable silence, partners in a galaxy that did not yet understand what that partnership would mean. The planet Nexera was beautiful in a cold, perfect way. It existed only for diplomacy, a neutral world where no species held power and all were supposed to be equal. The Galactic Summit happened here once every century, bringing together representatives from the major civilizations to discuss trade. Borders and peace.T-1 hated it immediately. The security was terrible. Too many entry points, too many species with too many different weapons and abilities. He had spent 3 days reviewing the protocols and found dozens of weaknesses. When he reported them to the Nexron security chief, a floating creature made of light and gas, it had dismissed him with something that might have been laughter. Humans worrying about security, it had said. How amusing. Now he stood in the Grand Hall, watching Princess Hana speak with ambassadors from a dozen different worlds. She wore formal robes that caught the light like captured starlight, her crystalline features perfect and diplomatic. She was good at this, he realized. She knew exactly what to say to each species, how to bow, how to smile. But Taiwan saw what others missed. The way her hand trembled slightly when the Krull delegation approached. The brief flash of fear when the Mordian ambassador stood too close. She was afraid, and hiding it perfectly. The human pet, someone said loudly in Universal Standard. I heard the Valoran princess brings her barbarian everywhere. Laughter followed. Taewon ignored it. He had learned long ago that words could not hurt him. Ambassador Minseo, the chief Valoran diplomat, approached Hana with concern on her crystalline features. Your Highness, Queen Irie has requested your presence at a private dinner tonight. This is a great honor, but also potentially dangerous. The Crithian Dominion has been expanding aggressively. We are not certain of her intentions. I will attend, Hana said calmly. It would be an insult to refuse. I strongly advise. I will attend, Hana repeated, her voice firm. And Taewon will accompany me. Minseo glanced at the human with barely concealed distaste. The Crithians will see this as an insult. Bringing a human to dine with their queen. Then they will be insulted, Hana said. He goes where I go. That evening, they walked through corridors of black stone toward Queen Ira's private chambers. Taewon had mapped every exit, every window, every ventilation shaft. He wore his sidearm openly now, a human plasma pistol that was primitive by galactic standards, but reliable. Are you nervous? Hana asked quietly. Always, Taewon admitted. Fear keeps you alert. Overconfidence kills. I am terrified, she said, so softly he almost missed it. I know, but you hide it well. My father taught me that a princess must never show weakness. Your father is wrong. Admitting fear is not weakness. It is honesty. Hana smiled slightly. You would tell an emperor he is wrong? I would tell anyone they are wrong if it keeps you safe. Queen Ira's guards stood outside the dinner chamber. They were massive creatures, easily 3 meters tall, with bioengineered muscles and weapons built into their bodies. They looked at Taewon the way someone might look at an insect. Annoying but harmless. The chamber inside was vast and decorated with trophies from 1,000 conquests. Queen Ira sat at the head of a long table, her 6 eyes studying Hana as they entered. She was old. Taewon knew from his research. Over 500 years old. She had ruled the Crithian Dominion since before humans discovered fire. Princess Hana, Irie said, her voice like grinding stone. How small you are. How delicate. I could crush you with one hand. Your Majesty is most kind to notice, Hana replied smoothly, taking her seat. Ira's eyes shifted to Taewon. And you brought your pet. The human. I have heard stories. Your father hired it after you proved too weak to keep yourself alive. Taewon said nothing. It was not his place to speak here. Tell me, little princess, Irie continued, leaning forward. You are so far from home. So vulnerable. So many here would love to see the Valoran Empire humbled. Who protects you in this den of predators? Hana met those 6 eyes without flinching. My human. The silence that followed was absolute. Then Queen Irie began to laugh. It was a terrible sound, like rocks breaking. Around the table, Other dignitaries joined in. Mockery filled the air. "You're human?" IR repeated. "This tiny creature? This barbarian from a species that only just learned to leave their own world? This is your protection?" "Yes," Hana said simply. "I have warriors who have fought in 1,000 battles," Ira said, standing. She was enormous, towering over everyone. "I have champions who have never known defeat. And you bring this thing." "I bring the best protector in the galaxy," Hana said, and Taewon felt something warm spread through his chest. "Prove it," Ira commanded. "My champion against your human." Ceremonial combat. Non-lethal, of course. We are civilized beings. But I would see what this pet of yours can do. "Your Majesty," Ambassador Mincio stood quickly. "This is highly irregular." "Perhaps. I accept," Hana said, cutting her off. Taiwan looked at her sharply, but she gave him a small nod. "Trust me," her expression said. They moved to a fighting circle in the chamber's center. Irish champion stepped forward, a Crithian warrior covered in bio-armor, with 4 arms and natural weapons extending from its forearms. It was twice Taewon's size and probably 5 times his weight. The crowd gathered, eager to see the human humiliated. Taewon removed his jacket and handed it to Hana. "Try not to let them ruin it. It is the only nice one I own." She took it with shaking hands. "You do not have to do this." "Yes, I do." "For you, I do." The fight began without ceremony. The champion charged immediately, using its size and speed to overwhelm. But Taewon was not there when it arrived. He had rolled aside, using the creature's momentum against it. The champion was strong and well-trained. But it fought the way it had been taught. Honorable, predictable. It announced its attacks with its posture. Taewon fought the way humans fought. Dirty, creative, adaptable. He used the environment, bouncing off pillars, using the low ceiling to limit the champion's reach. He targeted joints and soft spots, moving constantly, never letting the larger fighter pin him down. When the champion tried to use its 4 arms to grapple, Taewon slipped between them like water. The crowd grew quiet. This was not going as they expected. Taewon was not trying to overpower his opponent. He was trying to exhaust it. Every movement the champion made, Taewon forced it to make 3 more. Every attack missed, wasting energy. Slowly, methodically, he wore it down. 15 minutes into the fight, the champion was breathing hard. Taewon had barely broken a sweat. Then he struck. Not with brutal force, but with precision. 3 hits in rapid succession to nerve clusters he had identified. The champion's legs gave out and it collapsed. Taewon could have finished it. Could have put it down permanently. Instead, he stepped back and offered his hand to help it up. The champion stared at the hand, then took it. The chamber was completely silent. Queen Ira stood slowly. "Interesting. Very interesting. You fight not like a warrior, but like a survivor. You win not through strength, but through refusing to lose." "I cannot afford to lose," Taewon said simply. "Her life depends on me." "One victory does not make a protector," Ira said, but there was something new in her voice. Respect, perhaps, or at least curiosity. That night, as Hana prepared for sleep in her guest quarters, Taewon conducted his usual security sweep. He found the first assassin hiding in the ventilation system. The second was disguised as a servant. The third, fourth, and fifth came through the window simultaneously, using technology that bent light around them. They were good. Elite killers. Professional. But Taewon was better. He fought all 5 in the darkness of Hana's room while she hid in the secured panic chamber he had insisted be installed. He used furniture as weapons, shadows as cover. His knowledge of human anatomy to target alien weak points. It was brutal and quick. When palace security arrived 3 minutes later, All 5 assassins were unconscious and bound. Tae-won stood among them, bleeding from cuts on his arms and face. But standing, Hana emerged from the panic chamber and saw him there, surrounded by the bodies of those who had tried to kill her. She ran to him, her hand shaking as she touched his face. "You are hurt." "I am fine." "You are bleeding." "I said I am fine." She grabbed medical supplies and made him sit while she tended his wounds. Her hands were gentle but efficient. "You saved me. Again." "Always," Tae-won said. "That is the promise I made." Outside the window, Nexura's artificial moon shone down on a summit that would remember this night. The night a human proved that sometimes the best protector comes from the most unexpected place. The investigation began 3 days after they returned to Valoria. Commander Sung-ho brought the evidence to Emperor Daehyun personally, and what he found made the Emperor summon both Hana and Tae-won to his private chambers. The assassins at Nexura were Valoran, Sung-ho said quietly. All 5 of them. Military trained. They knew exactly where Princess Hana would be, exactly when security would change shifts, exactly which rooms had been prepared for her. "Someone on the inside," Daehyun said, his crystalline features dark with anger. "Someone close to us." "We have been scanning everyone telepathically," Sung-ho continued, "but finding nothing. Whoever is behind this has learned to shield their thoughts perfectly. Too perfectly." Tae-won had been standing silently, but now he spoke. "Your Majesty, with respect, telepathic scanning will not work. If the conspirators have learned to shield themselves, they will stay hidden forever. You need a different approach. And what would a human know about Valoran security?" Ambassador Mincio snapped. She had been against Tae-won's involvement from the beginning. "He knows that sometimes the best weapon is one your enemy does not expect," Hana said, stepping forward. "The conspirators expect telepathic investigation. They are prepared for it, but they are not prepared for someone who is immune to telepathy, someone who cannot be influenced or detected." Daehyun looked at his daughter, then at Tae-won. "You want to send him undercover?" "I want to give him permission to investigate," Hana corrected. "He has been observing everyone in this palace for months. He sees things we miss. And what have you seen, human?" Daehyun asked directly. Tae-won stepped forward. "Admiral Kyung-soo. He controls military deployment across 40 systems. He has access to every security protocol. He has been quietly replacing key personnel with his own people over the last 2 years. And 3 days before each assassination attempt, he met privately with individuals who later died in convenient accidents." The room went silent. "Those are serious accusations," Sung-ho said. "Kyung-soo is a war hero. He has served the Empire for 70 years. "Which makes him perfect," Tae-won said. "No one would suspect him. No one would question his authority. And he has the resources to hire the best assassins in the galaxy." "But why?" Hana asked. "Why would he want me dead? I am 3rd in line. Killing me accomplishes nothing. Unless you are not the only target," Tae-won said grimly. "Your Majesty, where are your other daughters?" Daehyun's expression changed. "Ba'ara is on a diplomatic mission to the Outer Rim. Suwa is overseeing colony development in the northern sectors. Both far from home. Both in positions where accidents could happen." Tae-won pulled up a data display. "I took the liberty of researching. Biora has had 4 close calls in the last year. Equipment failures, security breaches, mysterious illnesses. Su has had 3, all explained away as coincidence or bad luck. He's trying to eliminate the entire royal family," Hana whispered. "A military coup," Sung-ho said, understanding. "With all heirs dead, the military could claim emergency powers. Could we structure the government?" "We need proof," Daehyun said. "Accusations are not enough." If we move against Kyungsoo without absolute proof, we could trigger a civil war. Then let me get you proof, Taewon said. I can go places your telepaths cannot. I can investigate without anyone knowing. Humans are invisible to your society. No one pays attention to us. That is my advantage. Hannah grabbed his arm. It is too dangerous. If they discover you, they will not discover me. I am very good at not being discovered. She looked at her father. I do not like this plan. But it is a good plan, Dae-hyun admitted. Taewon, you will have my full authority to investigate. But you will report only to me and Commander Seung-ho. No one else can know. Over the next 2 weeks, Taewon became a ghost. During the day, he maintained his position as Hana's guard. But at night, he disappeared into the Undercity, into the military districts, into the shadows where conspiracies grew. He met with Joon-ki, his old military contact, who now worked as a human liaison in the lower levels. Joon-ki had connections everywhere, heard every rumor, knew every secret. You are playing a dangerous game, Joon-ki said over drinks in a dingy bar where 3 different species plotted 3 different crimes. Kyungsoo is not just powerful. He is smart. And he has been planning this for years. What have you heard? Taewon asked. Whispers. Stories about human mercenaries being recruited for a big job. Good pay. No questions asked. They are looking for humans specifically because humans cannot be telepathically traced. Taewon's blood ran cold. He is going to use humans for the final assassination. When he kills the Emperor. That would be my guess. Use humans to do the killing, then blame the entire human species. Turn it into a galactic incident. In the chaos, the military seizes control. I need names. I need to know which humans are involved. Joon-ki slid a data chip across the table. Everything I could find. But Taewon, be careful. Some of these humans, they do not care about anything but money. They will kill anyone, even their own species. Taewon took the chip. Thank you, my friend. Do not thank me yet. Stay alive long enough to use that information, then thank me. Back at the palace, Taewon compiled evidence. Financial records showing money flowing from military accounts to mercenary groups. Communication logs showing encrypted messages between Kyungsoo and known assassins. Personnel files showing the systematic replacement of loyal officers with conspirators. But it was not enough. They needed something definitive. Something that could not be denied that it came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yoonji, a human xenobiologist working in the palace medical wing, contacted Taewon through secure channels. They met in her lab late at night. I heard you were investigating something sensitive, she said nervously. I think I have information you need. What kind of information? Princess Baor was brought to me 6 months ago. She was acting strangely, forgetting things, making decisions that were out of character. Her attendants thought she was ill, and I ran tests. Her brain chemistry was altered. Someone had been using advanced telepathic techniques to manipulate her thoughts over an extended period, not controlling her directly, but influencing her decisions, making her more compliant, more willing to take risks. Taewon felt sick. They were preparing to use her, make her do something that would get her killed, or make her make decisions that would endanger the Empire. I reported it to Medical Command, but the report disappeared. I was told to forget about it. Medical Command reports to Admiral Kyungsoo. Dr. Yoonji nodded. I made copies. Everything is on this drive. But you need to protect her. She is still vulnerable. Where is she now? On her way back to Valoria. She should arrive in 3 days. Taewon took the evidence to Emperor Dae-hyun and Seung-ho. They reviewed it in absolute silence. This is enough, Dae-hyun said finally. We can bring this to the Galactic Council. Queen Ara herself can act as arbiter. Kyung-soo cannot deny this evidence. He will try, Sung-ho warned. And when he realizes we know, he will accelerate his plans. We need to act quickly. They did. Within 24 hours, a formal accusation was filed with the Galactic Council. Within 48 hours, Queen Ira herself arrived on Valoria to oversee the investigation. Within 72 hours, Admiral Kyung-soo was arrested, but he was smarter than they thought as the guards came for him. Kyung-soo smiled. You think you have won? You have no idea what I have prepared for this moment. Alarms began blaring throughout the palace. Sung-ho's communicator lit up with emergency signals. There is a weapon, one of his officers shouted over the comm. Hidden in the palace foundation. Some kind of antimatter device. It is counting down. 6 minutes until detonation. The entire palace will be destroyed. Where is it? Sung-ho demanded. We do not know. The signal is being scrambled. We cannot locate it. Ta-1 was already moving. I will find it. Keep evacuating. You do not even know where to look. Sung-ho called after him. Then I will look everywhere. For 5 minutes, Ta-1 ran through the palace at full speed, following instinct and training, checking every location where a device could be hidden. The ventilation systems, the power core, the water treatment facility. He found it with 40 seconds remaining. Hidden in the emergency backup generator, a device the size of his fist that would level everything within a kilometer. His hands flew over the mechanism, his military training coming back instantly. Bomb disposal had been part of his special operations certification. But this was Valoran technology, more advanced than anything he had trained on. 20 seconds. He pulled wires, disabled safeties, prayed to gods he did not believe in. 10 seconds. The device beeped ominously. 1 wire left. Red or blue? He had no idea which was correct. 5 seconds. He closed his eyes and pulled the red wire. The device went silent. Ta-1 collapsed against the wall, his heart hammering so hard he thought it might burst. His communicator crackled. Ta-1? It was Hannah's voice, terrified. Ta-1, are you there? I am here, he gasped. It is done. You are safe. But even as he said it, pain exploded through his side. He looked down to see blood spreading across his shirt. In his rush to find the device, he had not noticed the guard who had been waiting. Kyung-soo's final trap. The guard stood over him with a plasma blade, ready to finish the job. But before he could strike again, Hana appeared, carrying a weapon she barely knew how to use, and fired 3 times. The guard fell. She dropped. The medical wing of the Imperial Palace had never treated a human before. The doctors stood around Ta-1's unconscious body with expressions ranging from confusion to panic. Their instruments were designed for Valoran physiology. Their medicines calibrated for crystalline biology. Their procedures refined over millennia for their own species. None of it worked on the bleeding human before them. His circulatory system is completely different, one doctor said helplessly. The blood pressure, the cell structure, even the way his organs process oxygen. I do not know how to help him. Princess Hana stood in the corner, her hands clasped so tightly her crystalline skin had cracked. Ji-woo held her gently, but Hana could not stop shaking. She had watched Ta-1 collapse, had seen the life draining from him, had held his hand as they rushed him here. Then find someone who does know, Emperor Daehyun commanded. Contact Earth. Contact every human colony. Get me a doctor who can save him. It took 18 hours for Dr. Hyjin to arrive from Earth. She was a trauma surgeon who had served in the colonial wars, who had stitched together soldiers in battlefield conditions. She took one look at Ta-1 and immediately began barking orders. I need Earth-standard surgical equipment. I need human blood for transfusion. I need someone to tell me exactly what happened to him. Hannah stepped forward. He was stabbed. A plasma blade. Here. She pointed to his side. It went deep. There was so much blood. Dr. Hygiene examined the wound, her expression grim. The blade cauterized as it cut, which is the only reason he is still alive. But it damaged his liver and possibly his kidney. I need to operate now. Then operate, Daehyun said. I will need assistance. Your doctors do not know human anatomy. I will assist, Hannah said immediately. Your Highness, you are not trained. I have studied xenobiology for 10 years. I know anatomy. I can follow instructions. And I will not leave him. Dr. Hajian looked at the princess, saw the determination in her eyes, and nodded. Then scrub in. We have work to do. The surgery lasted 6 hours. Hannah stood beside Dr. Hajian, handing her instruments, holding retractors, watching as the doctor's skilled hands repaired the damage that should have killed Tae-won. She learned things about human biology that no Valoran had ever known. The redundancy of their systems. The way their bodies could compensate for catastrophic damage. The sheer stubborn refusal to die that was built into their evolution. Humans evolved on a death world, Dr. Hygiene explained as she worked. Earth tried to kill us for millions of years. So we evolved to survive what would kill any other species. Redundant organs, rapid healing, the ability to function with massive injuries. Your guard has lost almost 30% of his blood volume. Any other species would be dead. But humans? We are hard to kill. Will he live? Hannah asked quietly. He should be dead already. The fact that he is not tells me he has something to live for. Someone to live for. Dr. Hygiene glanced at Hannah. That helps more than any medicine. After the surgery, Tae-won was moved to a private recovery room. Dr. Hygiene set up monitoring equipment from Earth. Machines that could actually read human vital signs. Then she left Hannah alone with him. Talk to him, the doctor said. Even unconscious, he might hear you. It helps, so Hannah talked. She told him about the investigation, about how Kyung-soo had been formally charged, about how the conspiracy was unraveling. She told him about Boora, who was recovering from the mental manipulation and was grateful to be alive. She told him about the galaxy's reaction to the coup attempt, about how Queen Ire herself had vouched for the evidence. She told him everything except the one thing she wanted to say most days past. Tae-won remained unconscious. Dr. Hygiene assured everyone this was normal, that his body needed time to heal. But Hannah could not shake the fear that he would never wake up. She slept in a chair beside his bed, refusing to leave. Ji-woo brought her food that she barely touched. Emperor Daehyun visited daily, standing silently beside his daughter, watching the human who had saved them all. On the 4th day, Ji-woo found Hannah crying. He cannot die, Hannah whispered. I will not allow it. I have lost too much already. I cannot lose him too. You care for him, Ji-woo said gently. It was not a question. He is my friend, my protector, Hannah stopped, unable to find the words for what he had become. You're human, Ji-woo finished. That is what you told Queen Ire. That is what he is. On the 5th day, Tae-won's fingers moved. Hannah was reading to him from a book about Earth's history when she felt it. His hand, which she had been holding, squeezed hers gently. Her eyes flew to his face. His eyes were still closed, but there was something different. An awareness. Tae-won? She whispered. Can you hear me? His eyes opened slowly, focusing on her face. He tried to speak, but his throat was dried out. Hannah grabbed water, helped him drink. He coughed, grimaced, then tried again. Did we win? He asked, his voice barely audible. Hannah laughed and cried at the same time. Yes, we won. Kyung-soo is in custody. The conspiracy is over. The empire is safe. Good. He closed his eyes again, exhausted from just those few words. "Do not go back to sleep," Hana said urgently. "Stay with me." "Always," he murmured. "I promised." Over the next week, Taiwan recovered with a speed that amazed the Valoran doctors. Dr. Haijin was less surprised. "I told you, humans are hard to kill, and this one has something to live for." The day Taiwan could stand without assistance, Emperor Daihan came to his room with an official delegation. Taiwan tried to bow, but the emperor waved him back to sitting. "You saved my daughter's life more times than I can count," Daihan said. "You uncovered a conspiracy that would have destroyed our empire. You disabled a weapon that would have killed thousands. The debt I owe you cannot be calculated." "I was just doing my job, Your Majesty." "No, you went far beyond any job. I am prepared to offer you anything you desire. Land, titles, wealth. Name it, and it is yours." Taiwan looked past the emperor to where Hana stood. She met his eyes, and something passed between them that needed no words. "I want to continue serving as Princess Hana's guardian," he said simply. "That is all?" Daihan seemed surprised. "Nothing more?" "That is everything, Your Majesty." A ceremony was held 1 month later in the Grand Hall of Veloria. Representatives from across the galaxy attended, including Queen Ira herself. Taiwan stood before the emperor, wearing formal attire that felt uncomfortable after so long in combat gear. "To one of Earth," Emperor Daihan announced. "For service above and beyond all expectation, for loyalty that transcends species and culture, for courage that has redefined what it means to protect, I grant you the title of First Shield, the highest honor a guardian can receive in our empire." The hall erupted in applause. Not mocking laughter this time, but genuine respect. Queen Ira approached afterward, her 6 eyes studying Taiwan thoughtfully. "I asked your princess who protects her." She answered well. "Perhaps I should seek such humans for my own people." "With respect, Your Majesty," Taiwan said, "I am not for hire anymore." Ira laughed. "Loyal to the end." "I respect that." She turned to Hana. "You chose well, little princess. Keep this one close." "I intend to," Hana replied. That evening, as the celebrations continued, Hana and Taiwan stood on the balcony overlooking the capital. The city lights sparkled below like captured stars. "The Galactic Council has formally upgraded humanity's status," Hana said. "Because of you. Because of what you did here. Other empires are now requesting human security specialists." "I started something," Taiwan said. "I am not sure if that is good or bad." "It is good. The galaxy needed to see what humans can be. What you are. And what am I?" Hana turned to face him. "You are the person who saved my life, who became my friend, who showed me that strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the best protection comes from the most unexpected place." "That is a very diplomatic answer." "I am a princess. Diplomacy is what I do." She smiled. "But if you want the non-diplomatic answer, you are the most important person in my life." Taiwan looked at her, this alien princess who had become so much more than an assignment. "You are important to me too, more than I can explain." "Then do not explain. Just stay. Always," he said. "That is the promise I made. That is the promise I keep." A message arrived on Taiwan's communicator. He opened it to find a video from Earth. His sister, Sun Hee, stood in front of the family home he had not seen in years. "Big brother," she said, smiling through tears. "I saw the news. Everyone on Earth saw the news. You are a hero. Not just to that princess, but to all of us. You showed the galaxy what humans can do, what we can be. I am so proud of you. Mom and Dad would be proud too." Taiwan watched the message twice, then looked up at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere, his home world. But standing here on Valoria, beside Hana, he realized something important. What do you see when you look at the stars? Hannah asked softly. Home, he said. But not just Earth anymore. This is home too. You are home. She took his hand, her crystalline fingers lacing with his human ones. Different species, different worlds, different everything. But in that moment, it did not matter. Then we see the same thing, she said. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed. But most importantly, a princess and her human had changed each other. And that, more than any diplomatic treaty or galactic alliance.